This is the month of the military child with VYP and Yogi Beans with our partnership. And we're gonna get started. So if everyone could come and sit in their crisscross applesauce with your legs crossed, we are going to do our tune in. But to get started, what is yoga? Yoga makes you feel good. It's an exercise for the body, the mind, the heart, just getting everything that we love in our bodies and minds to be in a really happy, positive place. So to get started, we're going to sit in our crisscross applesauce. And we're going to sit up nice and tall, make sure our spine is nice and straight. And we're going to reach our arms up to the sky and pretend maybe we're putting on a yoga jacket of some sort, or maybe even some yoga pants or a dress. And once we get on our favorite outfit that we want to wear, we're going to take our hands and we're going to zip, zip, zip all the way up to make sure our backs are nice and straight. And then we'll bring our arms down to our side. We can stretch them out really, really nice and long. So we are still in our crisscross applesauce. We have zipped up our spine so that it's super nice and straight. And we're going to reach our arms out to the side. And we're going to do something called a TikTok song to make sure that we're nice and centered right in the middle of our crisscross applesauce. So we stick our arms out and we go tick tock, tick tock. I'm a little yoga clock. Tick tock, tick tock. When I find my center, stop. And when you stop, you should be right in the middle of your center. And if you maybe need to tick a little bit more on one side or tick a little bit more on the other side to get nice and in the middle, then we can do that. And now we are all tuned in. We're in our lovely crisscross. We're sitting up nice and tall with our spine nice and straight. We did our TikTok. We're sitting right in our center where we need to be. And I'm going to bring out our bell. And when I ring the bell, you can raise your hand if you hear it. And then when I stop, you bring your hand back down. And when the bell goes off, we're going to bring our hand back down. And when you hear the bell, raise your hand again. And we'll do one last. Beautiful job, guys. And next, we're going to bring out this really fun breathing ball. It has a ton of different colors on it, and it expands. And so what we're going to do with this ball is we're going to mirror it to our breath. So when we take big breaths, I'm going to open it and we'll puff out your belly really, really big. And when I close it, we'll let all the air out that we just got inside. So for example, we'll go, and you can let it out. And maybe if you're with your grown-up, you can place your hand on their back, and when they do big breaths in and out, you'll feel what that feels like inside your body. So we'll do a big breath in together and let all that air out. Sometimes people like to call it the Elsa breath, and you can pretend that you're blowing out cool air or icy air. You can do a big breath in again and let it all out. Beautiful, guys. We'll do it 3 more times, and we'll do a big breath in and let it all out. And maybe this time you can make even a bigger breath in. You can go and let it out. And for our last breath, and you can put your hand on your belly to feel it and puff it all out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful breaths, guys. And you can also always just put your hands on your belly. And when you do a big breath in, you can feel it go out. You see your belly puff out, you can look at it, and all that air goes back out and your belly goes back in. Now you can stand up and go into our mountain pose. And the goal of our mountain pose, we want to be really, really pressed down on our feet. We want to stand nice and tall. If we think of our zipped up spine, nice and straight. And you can bring your hands down here, or you can bring your hands all the way up. And mountains have 4 S's, right? Mountains are silent, still, strong, and we can ground on our feet. We can be here, maybe close your eyes a little bit and think about something that made you really, really happy today or really excited. And we could do more breaths. You can put your hand on your belly again. We'll do 2 breaths here. And it puffs out and let all the air out. And 1 more breath. And puff it out. And sometimes our mountains can be silly. And we can have a lot of fun in our mountain pose. We can do a little mountain dance. And as we hear the music, we can turn our arms or branches, as we like to call them. And we can turn to our left. We can turn to our right. And maybe wave our branch leaves up in the air. And maybe twirl if you would like, or twirl the other way. And wave. And if you have space in your room, you can move around and dance. Maybe stretch out our legs. Do some marching. And stretch your arms up and out. And you can be as silly as you would like to be, as a silly, silly mountain. Wave your hands around. And maybe do some last turns. Maybe our mountain wants to stretch down and touch the bottom of the earth. And roll back up. And stretch down again. And roll back up. And we'll do 2 more. Last one. Great job, guys, being silly, silly mountains. We can come back in our crisscross applesauce. And from there, we'll go into our mouse pose. And we'll scrunch up really, 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 really small. And we'll put our hands out and shake up and go, arf, arf, like a seal. And clap back down, arf, arf. And then we'll go into our cat. And we'll look at our belly button and we'll say meow. And we'll poke our head up to the sky and say moo in our cow. And then we'll go into our dog. And we'll go woof, 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 woof. And then we'll stick our leg up and go into a pony. And we'll go neigh. And switch our other leg to our other pony side and go neigh. And then we can put ourselves into a plank and go like this really, really strong. And gently come all the way down to your belly button. And then we'll become a snake. And we'll hiss. And move our bodies. And hiss. And then come right back into our mouse. Good job, guys. And from here, we'll start our yoga adventure. Today, we're going to be going in our yoga garden. And we'll stand right back up on our feet. And go into our tree pose. So for our tree, we'll stand here. We'll put our leg right below our knee. And we'll stick our arms up nice and tall. And you can try maybe on the other side. It might be a little bit hard to stand on one foot, but that's the challenge. But it might be really fun to be a little wobbly and silly. And it'll be our other tree on the other side. And from here, we'll go back down and we'll do our rainbow pose. And we all know what a rainbow looks like when we see it outside. It will go like this. And we have a beautiful, beautiful arch. So we just did our tree and our rainbow. And we have a beautiful rainbow. I hope it looks like this wherever you are. And what else would we maybe see in a garden? Maybe there would be things that are planted in the earth. And maybe one of those things is a carrot. I'll show you how we do our carrot pose. So we'll go on our back. And we'll pluck our carrot from the earth with our leg, and then we'll switch sides, pluck our other carrot from the earth, and go back down. And you can keep plucking at your carrots. We have nice long legs that are nice and strong that we can pluck them up from the earth, right? Maybe we had some carrots today, or maybe we'll have some carrots for lunch. Some other things that we might see in a yoga garden, maybe some flowers. So we'll have our flower here and we'll do our flower pose. So our flower pose might be a little bit tricky because it's kind of a balancing game. So we'll be in our crisscross applesauce. And from our crisscross applesauce, we'll stick our knees out and we'll put our arms underneath, and that would be our flower. And maybe you'll roll around because it's a little hard to balance on your back. And then maybe what kind of flower do you think you would be? Would you be a sunflower, or maybe a dandelion, or maybe some roses, or some tulips, or some sunflowers? There's so many flowers that we could try and be. And maybe also in our garden, we did this pose a little bit earlier where we slithered around. Maybe we find a snake in our garden. We do our snake pose together again. So we'll go in a straight line and on our bellies and hiss and move. And maybe if you're a little scared of a snake, that's okay, because I am too, but that's okay. We're doing snake with our body. We'll slither. And then if we want to be a king cobra snake, we can go all the way up and go back down, and some more slithering in our yoga garden and more hisses. And back in our seat. We'll have one last item that we might find in our yoga garden. And I can tell you that it's something that is small and flies around and comes in very many beautiful colors. If we have any guesses, I hope maybe you guessed butterfly. So a beautiful butterfly. We'll sit with our feet touching, and we'll put our arms on our feet, and we can do a butterfly song. I hope you guys will all join me in this butterfly song. And let's pretend what we'll see today. If you were a butterfly flying over the sky, fluttering your wings, maybe we put our antennas up as we're flying through the sky. And what do we see? I'm all the way in New York, so for my butterfly, I see so many tall buildings. And I see the sun, and I see Central Park. And when we look down, what else do we see? I see some taxi cabs, and I see so many kids playing in the park. And we can keep flapping our wings because it's a beautiful, beautiful day outside. And we'll put our antennas back up. And what else would we see? Do we see some of our friends playing in the park, maybe? Or do we see any fun cars? Or kids playing in the playground? Maybe some dogs? What colors do we see? Do we maybe see some blues from the sky? Maybe some green from the beautiful ground and the grass and trees? Maybe we see some flowers that we saw in our yoga garden earlier. Maybe we see some snakes that we saw in our yoga garden earlier. What does your butterfly see? Some people are saying their butterfly sees some dogs. And what else do we possibly see? For our last peek. Oh, I see all my friends down there. All right, beautiful butterflies. Thank you so much for flying with me. That was so much fun. So what we can do for our next game is something called Mirror Me. So when we look in a mirror, we see ourselves, right? Or maybe if you look in a mirror with a grown-up, you'll see your grown-up looking with you in the mirror. And what you can do with your grown-up or following me is we're going to take our hands and you'll follow my hands in the direction that they go. But this game is a silent game, so we don't speak. we just look with our eyes and pay attention to what's going on. And we can go super slow. And then maybe some faster movements. Good job following, everyone. You guys are doing so great. And we'll slowly. Good observation, guys. You guys are doing so well following along with me in our mirror game. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job with your mirror hands, guys. And what we'll do as we start to calm down from our day, we'll do a few more breaths with our breathing ball. But this time, when we exhale, we can try something called a lion's breath. And if we've seen lions, they like to roar and stick out their tongue, right? So we're going to try that together, okay? Do a big breath in and puff out your bellies, and we'll go, ha. And if you want, you can do lion hands too. Put your paws out, and then we'll do a big breath in and let your lion roar, ha. Good job, guys. We'll do this 2 more times. Big breath in. And last biggest breath ever that you're going to make today. Good work, everyone. So we'll start to close out our session, and we'll say some kind words to ourselves, right? We always want to speak very kindly to ourselves and remind us of all the wonderful things that we are. So we'll put our hands on our lap, we'll sit in our crisscross applesauce, and we'll say, I am kind. We'll put our hands on our head and say, I am smart. And last one, we'll say, I am strong. And now we'll whisper that to ourselves. We'll say, I am kind. Put your hand on your heart. I am strong. Put your hands on your lap. I am smart. Put your hands on your head. And if you're with your grown-up, you can look at your grown-up and tell them, you can say, I am kind. I am smart. I am strong. And if you want to, I am smart. I am strong. And for our last round, we'll say it to ourselves. We'll say, and these are something that you can whisper to yourself all the time. Maybe when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed at night, and we'll remind ourselves of these really wonderful things about us. And for our last and final thing for class, we'll go into our resting pose. And you can lay on your back if you would like, or you can grab some pillows and blankets and lay down on the floor, or maybe lay with your grown-up, and you can close your eyes if you'd like, or you can keep your eyes open. Sometimes closing your eyes doesn't feel so great, so maybe you can keep your eyes open and maybe stare down at your toes or stare up at the ceiling if you're laying down. And we can think about things that made us really, really happy today. Maybe it was having a really yummy breakfast, or playing with our friends today, or maybe learning something really, really cool, or maybe you have something really exciting that you're going to do later today. And we just want to find some really happy thoughts to put in our mind to make us feel really good for the rest of the day. And we can put our hands on our heart if we want while we think about the nice things that's going on today. Maybe it's seeing our grown-ups or playing with them later today. hanging out with our friends, or maybe having a really yummy snack. And we'll do a big breath in together. You can put your hands on your belly so you can feel it. And let it out nice and slow. And why we like to quiet our mind and tell ourselves really nice things, because sometimes things can feel really stressful or really overwhelming, or maybe just too much. And sometimes we just need a little nice quiet time for ourselves. And we can put our hands on our belly again and do another big breath together. And let it out. And as you lay here, think of any last things that you want to maybe tell yourself. And maybe give yourself a nice big hug, squeeze really, really, really tight. And you can say to yourself, I love myself, and maybe rock a little bit. And you can let your hug go. And then whenever you're ready, you can join me back in crisscross applesauce. We could do a big stretch out together, open the arms. And open our eyes. And thank you guys so, so much for joining me today. I'm so happy I got to spend time with you all, and very excited for our Veterans Yoga Project and Yogi Beans partnership. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.